It seemed like it was just a few days ago on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Todd Pinkney, one of our P1s who came to our Seattle Kraken expansion draft watch party the other night, asks if Monty the Squirrel's going to use the lawnmower 4.0 to trim his nuts. I was thinking more, how about that? But
How about that?
it's not an unreasonable question.
No, it is not.
Monty the Squirrel. Can we get that done up by the end of the show? And I'm in favor of your mom sewing the costume this time.
You are?
Yes.
Are you watching?
Paula?
She's probably watching.
What's going on back here? They're all laughing back there. Oh, I'd wonder. Oh.
Because then you paused. And I was like, this in favor of her? What?
I know. I heard them bust out laughing. I'm like, what are you?
And then you sewing the costume, and it's like, just disarmed me. I'm like, okay, we're good. She can sew the costume.
I'm in favor of your mom.
What? Say it. Say it.
Stay tuned, sit back, enjoy. Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
We with the Pats and the Edmonton Expo Center. I'm standing with this team jacket on. Glenn Sather walked out on the bench, and I was literally like, bah, 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 bah. And our assistant GM, he was wearing the same jacket. And he was like, you guys, where did you get those jackets? And I'm like, bah, 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 bah. There was my chance to chat with Glenn Sather. And I soiled myself.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show on a Wednesday. It's my Friday. Traveling back to the Great White North after today. How about that? We're coming at you live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, and listen up, Rhino Radio. I got something for you coming up here. I am in South Florida, hence the Dolphin shirt today. And the Moose joins us from steamy, I'm sure, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And Moose, I'm going to jump into this. So I went to go to a meeting this morning at the Lions Club here in Boca. I show up and the meeting's not there. Big joke. They forgot to tell Rod. It was that show up on the seventh green at 7 thing. So I had some time on my hands. So I went to Dunkin' Donuts. And while I was sitting at Dunkin' Donuts having a coffee, I thought, I'm going to listen to the Rhino Radio Show, the Radio Penitentiary on WQEE. Folks, you got to listen to Rhino Radio on WQEE, better known as The Keep. And this is how Ryan will know that I was talking about him and I was actually listening. Because he says, Darren, I'm Rhino Radio and we're on the Fringe Radio Network. I'm Rhino Radio and I'm the man around here. And I'm like, I'll have what he's having. Rhino Radio. And then he brought on the biggest name in all of heavy metal music. Had him on live. So, yeah, just so you know, Ryan, I listen to you just like you listen to us. And I'm very proud, as is Darren and our entire crew, to be on the air in Atlanta. We are the heartbeat of Atlanta, WQEE, your southern home of sports and talk. Top that, Moose. How was your morning?
That's pretty good. You're right. The sun's shining here. I just sat, up looking out the window, having my morning coffee, going through my emails. It was nothing like that. That's pretty good. And now I think tomorrow I'll be listening to The Key.
Yeah, you got it. It's so entertaining. Coming up on the program today, Hour 1, Hustler Paterson from Winnipeg Sports Talk. And in Hour 2, Jeshrun Antwi of the Montreal Alouettes in our weekly CFL Players Association Spotlight. That's coming up in Hour 2. Can you hit the quick six show horn, please? And we will get down to business. I'll say one more other thing. I mean, there's a lot of people don't understand what's been going on the past couple of years, but you saw that photo of me on the boat with the rich old white guys yesterday. You saw that, right, when we were just cruising? And when I got introduced to all those guys by Gil, they're like, oh, here's Rod. What's Rod do? He was 20 years in the CFL, voice of the Rough Riders, and he was the voice of the Pats, but now he hosts a radio show in Atlanta. And those old guys were like, ooh, very influential, rich football guy. Oh, he's on the radio in Atlanta. That's right, on the Key. But we're opening with baseball, Moose. The visiting San Diego Padres hit 4 home runs, chased Jays starter Alek Manoah early, and halted Toronto's 4-game win streak with a 9-1 victory Tuesday night to open a 3-game series at Rogers Center. Manoah only lasted 3 innings, giving up 4 runs on 4 hits. Pitching coach Pete Walker was tossed in the second. Manoah walked 5 batters and gave up 1 homer. But that wasn't even the story of the night. To be honest, the Golden Girl is not here. She's at the mall right now, but she was all excited about this. Serena was looking at all the scores, and she couldn't believe this. Major League Baseball had a night of offense last night not seen in 129 years, with 12 teams scoring double-digit runs. 3 games ended 11-10 on the same day for the first time ever. So this goes back to 1884. 12 teams tied May 30th, 1884, for the second most with double-digit runs in one day. So she's rattling this all off to me. And she's like, are you not excited about this? I said, not even a little. I mean, I enjoy watching the Blue Jays, but I've said this to you, Darren. I am not the baseball guy, will never be the baseball guy, don't want to be known as the baseball guy. But I'll watch the Jays. Not a lot of other teams, though, hold my interest. There's a lot of other stuff to get to. But did you hear about this at all in Toronto this morning amongst all your people?
Yeah, I was. They were talking about it on SportsCenter this morning as I'm, watching that as I'm waking up, and all the runs. It was cool, and not just blowouts either. Close games. 13, 12, 11, 10. That's fun when no lead, that's CFL stuff. No lead is safe, right? Every at bat, you can expect to see some runs. You don't have time to walk around and see the souvenirs and go get some popcorn. You got to stay in your seat. So it's kind of fun to do that for a night.
The usual crew, the Rod Squad, showing up here today. Brian says good morning from the highways of Alberta. Wayne in BC says good morning from beautiful Victoria. Ryan McCarthy checking in from sunny Saratoga, New York. Not only do we have the locales, but we have a weather report too. Dawn in Ottawa, Navy Dawn says good morning from sunny and comfortable Ottawa, weather-wise. Carlos checking in from Indianapolis. Nelson Hackowitz says it sounds like the rule changes are doing good things for baseball. So hang on to that thought. And from the account, High Explosive writes in and says, howdy, I'm on the Via Rail. Don't. From Kingston to Toronto, hitting up a Jays game tonight before flying home to Sherwood Park to watch Cornelius blow it against the Bombers.
Oh, no.
And, good one, Clark. Good one. I was going to say, wah, wah, wah. You got them both.
Too.
You got them both. And Chad checking in from southern Alberta. So everybody's here. Everybody's accounted for. And I'm going to move on because it ain't the baseball show. But Nelson has it right. And if you remember in the spring training, preseason grapefruit play, everybody was bitching about all the new rules. And I'm like, can we just give it a chance? Can we give it a chance? And here we are. More runs than we've had in 130 years. The games are exciting. The Blue Jays are in contention. So, as you know, everybody's in a race to just crap all over everything. It's a one-upper contest on social media to crap all over everything. And that's why I've zoned out on all of social media and just do my own thing. You know what? I've never been happier. So, to point 2, and trust me, we will get to the CFL stuff. This might be a great phrase. The only show that talks about the CFL every day, but not for all day. How about that? We talk about it more than anybody else because we talk about it every day. Right, but it's not going to be the whole show, so just don't get your panties in a bunch. Because we are hockey first, and the Ottawa Senators, breaking news from this Wednesday morning, the Ottawa Senators announced today that they have parted ways with assistant general manager Trent Mann. The NHL team made the move official after reports broke last week that the 50-year-old from Sackville, New Brunswick, was on his way out. It comes 5.5 months after his brother Troy was fired as head coach of the Belleville Senators. That's Ottawa's American Hockey League affiliate. So I'm not going to say any more than that. I don't know too much about the story, other than it was been percolating for a while. Today, made official by the Ottawa Senators. And I know we have a lot of viewers watching in Ottawa. Obviously, Navy Dawn, but also we're carried there on Rogers Cable and all the rest. But Moose, a couple other NHL notes before we get to Canada's Game of the Week, some fun NFL stuff, and I'm not letting you go before we talk about that quarterback series on Netflix. But two things. Ron McLean, apparently it came out that he will be returning to Sportsnet's NHL coverage next season. And then Kevin Bieksa, this came across my Yahoo feed today. Bieksa goes, well, if Ron's back, I'm back. Woohoo! Everybody going nuts about Kevin Bieksa returning. And poor Howard Berger. Darren, you must be familiar with Howard Berger as the Leafs fan that you are, right?
That's right. And I saw the article you wrote,
Howard,
too.
Okay, you got it. Howard and I are from the same school. He's a little older than me, but we're just old dogs, too old to learn new tricks, right? So he had the rumors. He wrote the column that these guys were. I think his only comment was that the only guy safe at Sportsnet was Elliot Friedman. Wasn't to say that Ron McLean was going to get smoked or Bieksa. Right? Like, now, these days, you got to be really careful. Howard's working at a funeral home right now. Like, maybe he shouldn't be writing columns anymore. But I've had information that's turned out to not be true either. This media game's really changed a whole heck of a lot. So all I'll say about Bieksa, I like him on there. I don't love him. He had a tough act to follow in Don Cherry, obviously. And by the way, that's not Bieksa's fault. Listen, he says that they don't rehearse. They just wing it on there. That's not true. Bieksa is just being kind to his bosses at Sportsnet because Getzlaf told me on the mic, Ryan Getzlaf, he said Bieksa would be great if they'd take the harness off him. So here's my challenge to you, Sportsnet. Take the harness off Kevin Bieksa, and then let's really get down to it. I like him on there, but let him be Kevin Bieksa. What's he getting? What's the worst that can happen, Mose? What's the worst? You're going to say you people? So, yeah, I'm glad that nobody lost their job. And poor Howard Berger, bad scoop, bad info. It's happened to me too.
Yeah, and maybe, we did talk about the only one safe is Elliot Friedman, and that they were, going through all the contracts were up or whatever, and they may go in a new direction. But he didn't come out and say the other guys were out or that changes were definitely coming. But he alluded to that. And then they announced that everybody's coming back. And actually, I think it was it Bieksa in the same tweet or in a following post by somebody, a photo of all of them. It was Ron and Kevin and Jennifer Botterill and Elliot Friedman and Dave Amber, right? They're all sitting around the table having dinner, right? So everybody's coming back. Kyle Bukauskas was in the photo. So it sounds like everybody's coming back, and all is going to be the same at Hockey Night. And Howard Berger, yeah, he's got a leg on his face this morning.
But you know what? Everybody will be over by tomorrow because, as my brother says, we live in a 24-hour world. We don't remember what happened yesterday. We don't think about tomorrow. We just know what's going on today. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, I guess. So Howie will get over it, but it's just a tough game. In this media business, wear a helmet. The Progressive Insurance text line is open, 902-518-3033. Buffalo Bill writes in and says, greetings and no hallucinations from cloudy 70 degrees Minot, North Dakota. Brian in Manitoba writes in and says, good day, Rod and the squad. Methinks Serena, a.k.a. the Golden Girl, should place a bid on Gretzky's stick. Would be a nice addition to the bunker down there in the Sunshine State. Well, number one, there's only room for one silver stick here in the bunker, and Darren brought it to me in honor of our 1000th show. Number two, I'm hoping she's not aware of the Gretzky stick heading for auction. She doesn't need to know about that. And from Kirk, who's reading our diary, and he watches us every day on Game Plus television, He's in Toronto. He says, a game of the week in the CFL, Argonauts, Ticats, one of the oldest rivalries in pro sports. Argos 150 this year. Is that true? Have you seen any advertising anywhere that says that this is the 150th season of Argos football? That's the first I heard of it.
I know. I haven't seen it. I was at the ballpark. I don't recall seeing it, at the stadium. I'd have to dig on that a little bit.
Okay. Before we jump into the game of the week talk, okay, hey, we could talk about the Don Cherry stuff not only all show, we could talk about it every day, all day, and we're not going to. But Navy Don says better than TSN. That is all. Leafs all the time, and Sportsnet, who hardly covers the CFL. We're not talking about the other networks. We're just talking about us. We have fun here. Nelson says, great Marianne from Brooklyn, RP. No, you get around these Jewish people in Boca, you just pick it up. But I prefer the football draw like my guy Cooper in Mississippi. Now, Rod, here's the thing. What are you doing today, Cooper? I'm talking to you. Chad in Lethbridge, you people all know Grapes was innocent. There's one thing that I will say that we all need to understand. When time's up, time's up. And if you don't realize when time's up, you're going to keep getting hit over the head with a hammer till you realize time's up. It's over. Move on. In every regard. Nelson says the Argos wear a jersey patch that says Argos 150. Well, how do we know that was for their birthday? Jody writes in and says, Argos. Your home for Argos football. WQEE Atlanta. And Game Plus Television. I'm sure Rhino Radio's up for it. Ryan in Toronto says it's a missed opportunity to not promote the 150th year of the Argos. But then again, they are also missing stats on the CFL website itself.
Oh, no.
Not going down that road. Not going down that road. And last one from Kevin the Medium. He has chimed in and says, good morning, RP peeps. I used my calculator, and yes, Argos have been around 150 years, from 1873 to 2023. So, yeah, it's on their jerseys. That was first I've seen of it. Argos have a lot to be proud of. When we come back, we're going to talk obviously, CFL Game of the Week and the poll for Key Auto Group. I have some thoughts, but I'm not married to it. You could convince me otherwise. We have some fun NFL talk to bring up. Oh, and the NHL Notebook, I never finished it. I never finished the NHL Notebook. So we have a lot to get to with Moose. On the way, Hustler Paterson from Winnipeg Sports Talk. Jeshrun Antwi, Montreal Alouettes running back. That's all ahead today. You're watching live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, podcast, and YouTube Live.
Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey everybody, we back. By the way, are you too busy with summer plans to cook, but want to make sure you're eating well? Well, with Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit, skip the trip to the grocery store and skip the chopping, prepping, and even cleaning up too, while still getting the flavor and nutritional quality you need. I'm adding this in. They didn't write this, but it's like frozen TV dinners, but fresher and more nutritious. Obviously better. What we're asking you to do is go to factormeals.com/Peterson50 and use promo code Peterson50 to get 50% off your first order. That's factormeals.com/Peterson50 for Factor Meals, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit. The Moose is with us. He is in Toronto. And I see John Ohm checked in. He said he's at Boston Pizza, and it's a gloomy day in Winnipeg, he said, and he's come here to have his day brightened. So let's do that. Arlen Bruce has checked in, and he said, so just hang on, everybody. Everybody's excited today, and that's a good thing, but you got to remember who's in control. That's me. I'm the quarterback. You're all position players other than that. Arlen says, great morning, RP and Darren. Would you bring back Ed Hervey to Edmonton and bring back Chamberlain for the Ticats? I'm going to the BC Lions game Saturday for the watermelon smash. FYI, I hate watermelon. I like watermelon. I was walking through the supermarket the other day and I saw a watermelon vodka and I'm like, ooh, thank God I don't drink anymore because I would drown myself in that. And I'm also seeing a lot of talk with the Argos. Craig Campbell writes in from the Hockey Hall of Fame. He says, you will find absolutely nothing advertised in the Argos in Toronto at any time. The 150 patch only on their sweaters, but I still love them. I see that today we are where Argos fans have come to talk. So this is what I will say. Nobody else is talking CFL, certainly not to the degree that we do. So support our sponsors like Sober Carpenter. Non-alcoholic craft beverages. I've saved, potentially, Darren, the best for last. Black IPA, limited edition. Look at the can, dude. Like it literally looks like some voodoo crazy thing. It's very cool. Black IPA. Dun, da, da, da. And also go to BetRegal. If you're betting on any sports whatsoever, go to betregal.ca, sign up and start playing. Get their app, by the way, which only seems to work on my U.S. phone, but not on my Canadian phone. But I think it's a Rod thing. Ooh. Oh. It's just so good when it hits your lips, Moose. You got to go try this. Black IPA. I was a little afraid to try it.
Right.
And I've got it extremely cold, too, by the way. We keep our fridge in Florida very cold. Sobert Carpenter, Bet Regal. Yeah, what up?
Yeah. Well, when you say black IPA, my mind goes to like a stout, like Guinness or something really, really dark. And in your day, I'll say back in your playing days, were you a fan of the dark beers, the Guinnesses?
Nope. I mean, if it was the only thing left in the bar.
Right. Yeah. So I thought this was that when you said black IPA. I'm like, oh, is it really dark? He's not going to like this.
Everybody loves drinking stories. One night I was in a place in Calgary called the Salt Lick, and most people know where that is, and the Cowboy people know what that is. And I was with George Cortez, and we both ordered a beer. I had my first one done by the time his went to his lips, and George goes, "You should order two." I said, "Why?" He goes, "Well, because the first one's gone so fast." And I said, "That's a hell of an idea, George." And from that point on, I started to do that. So you can thank George Cortez for my drinking problems.
How about that?
I'm joking. I'm joking, of course. It's National Hot Dog Day today. I just want to say this. Can we get a theme going? I see some people are talking about it in the chat, and you can write us as well on the Progressive Insurance text line 902-518-3033. It's National Hot Dog Day. The greatest hot dog we've ever had comes from where? I'll go first. It's in this Bell Center in Montreal, and it's not close for number 2. And anybody who's been on the NHL beat, I assume the fans can buy them too, but for the media, the media room is full of hot dogs. And that's all anybody eats. I mean, I'm sure there's prime rib there and steak like all the other NHL rinks, but we only want the hot dogs where they toast the buns, they slit it, it's like a tent. They toast it, put the hot dog in there, and it's the greatest hot dog. The secret in Montreal is the bun, oddly enough, not the hot dog. So off the top of your head, where's the best hot dog you've ever had? And then we'll move on.
Yeah, mine is the Dodger dog in L.A., the Dodger Stadium. And a lot of it is circumstance, how hungry you are, the moment you have the hot dog. But for me, that's the best one I've had.
Everybody, where's the best hot dog you've ever had? They got a great one at the Beach House in Pompano, and we were going to go down there today and have every other hot dog pales in comparison to this thing is the size of my forearm, for the love of God. But Thad's not working today, so I'm not sure that we're going to go down there. I'm not sure that we're going to go. Anyways, Canada's Game of the Week. We do it every Wednesday. There seems to be some consternation over what's the game of the week in the Canadian Football League, Week 7. It's brought to you by Key Auto Group. At the Key Auto Group, you can buy with confidence knowing that they provide reports on all vehicles they sell. Get fully informed with your next vehicle by going to keyautogroup.ca. So here are your options. Thursday, Edmonton at Winnipeg. And just so you know, next hour is when we will play Deal or No Deal. We're not playing it now. That's where we go through the betting lines from our exclusive betting partner, Bet Regal. There's some whoppers. And Darren and I decide whether we're going to take the bet or not. But that's next hour. Here are just the actual games. Edmonton at Winnipeg. How bad's it going to be? Friday, Toronto and Hamilton. The viewers are already saying that's the best game of the week. Frankly, I think it's Sask at BC Saturday night. Very hard to beat a Saturday night at BC Place in the summer. It just is. And it's curious to me. And Sunday, Ottawa at Calgary. And my guess is that'll probably be the least voted for game. As a matter of fact, let me call up the Instagram. We'll put it on our Instagram, too. You can go vote there. They're saying Toronto and Hamilton. Tell me why, Moose, you think that could be Canada's game of the week.
Yeah, I mean, the Argos are the number 1 team in the league, and they're still incredibly exciting to watch, which is fun. And Hamilton's interesting, like all the pressure on Hamilton and, you know, the number 1 team or the Grey Cup hosts, and they're trying to get there, but they're on to quarterback number 3. So I'm always intrigued by that. How will he fare? What's the status of Bo Levi moving forward? How close is he to return? But, you know, Hamilton's coming off a win and some positivity. So is that going to continue? A lot of intrigue for me around the Hamilton Tiger Cats right now.
So just on Instagram alone, Sask at BC has 64% of the vote. Sask at BC. And then 21% Toronto and Hamilton, 9% Ottawa at Calgary, and 6% is Edmonton at Winnipeg. And Hustler Paterson's going to join us next segment from Winnipeg Sports Talk to drum up a little more on that game. I'm so over talking about Connor Hellebuck. I wonder if he is too. Don't even get me started on fake news. But for me, it's in my commentary today. You can go read it at rodpeterson.com or listen to it on Saskatchewan radio. I'm curious to see if Mason Fine can live up to his name, making his third career start for Saskatchewan at quarterback Saturday night at BC. We know what BC is going to bring. They're going to be very good. And to be honest, the odds makers, it ain't looking good for the Riders as far as the Bet Regal odds makers go. I talked to Lynch again yesterday, Darren, and he said, fine is not fine. Fine is not fine. And he thinks the Riders are going to get speedboated in BC on Saturday night. You?
Yeah, you know, all signs would point to that. And I can see why this game is up there, too, for Game of the Week. And for me, it's my second choice, but call it a 1A, 1B situation for all the same reasons that I picked Toronto-Hamilton. You got a really good team in BC who may be the class of the West right now after Winnipeg's little stumbles. And then you've got this intrigue around Saskatchewan onto their second quarterback. And what can they do? They've had some success recently, but the quarterback's gone down. And now the season is in the hands of Mason Fine. So, yeah, I'm intrigued with that one almost as much as I am with Toronto-Hamilton. It's going to be two very entertaining games.
And I see the ratings were extremely high coming out of Week 6 in the Canadian Football League. So, summer, CFL, move the season up. This is when the CFL should be playing ball and don't even go against the NFL. By the way, our CFL coverage is brought to you in part by Sober Carpenter, non-alcoholic craft beer. Check them out at sobercarpenter.com. I'll say this. I tried all the non-alcoholic beers back in the day. Didn't like him. I'm not drinking anyway, so this tastes exactly like those craft beers, the real ones. So examine why you want to drink this. And because if it's because you shouldn't be drinking the others and you think it might trigger you, then don't. I'm fine. I literally got to go, are you sure this isn't real? But it ain't, because I'm completely have my faculties. Moose, point 4. Yeah, got to understand something, everybody. Major League Soccer Commissioner Dan Garber figures Lionel Messi's arrival is just the start of an exciting few years for soccer in North America. The U.S., Mexico, and Canada are hosting the 2026 World Cup. The 2024 Copa America and 2025 Club World Cup will be held in the U.S. And Garber called Messi's decision to join Inter Miami a transformational moment at a news conference yesterday on the eve of the MLS All-Star Game. That goes tonight in Washington. The MLS All-Stars are playing Arsenal. Messi's not playing. You'd kind of think that he would, based on he just signed. He would immediately be an All-Star, but he's not playing. But his first game is Friday. I think they said it's against the Aztecas. Non-conference play, whatever the soccer people call it. But you can see that I'm at least trying to figure it out, Darren, and it's all about hype, 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 hype. 20,000 people show up for the flipping news conference. The news conference had 20,000 people show up. Forget about the game. So will you be watching the no, stop. No, don't. I'll be watching it. Just a yes or no. You're going to watch the All-Star game? You are. You said yeah? What?
No, I won't be.
I think I have all my faculties. I'm getting kind of hopped up on this.
Yeah, I'm not sure you're going to watch the MLS All-Star game. That's good.
Yeah, I'll be up.
I appreciate that.
Super Bowl pick, we'll do that next hour. I've been teasing for like 3 days. I want your pick on your comment on this quarterback series on Netflix. I just see the icon on it, the thumbnail. I will watch it at some point. We haven't started it yet, kind of ensconced in Justified right now. And then we watch at least one Golden Girls every night. Tell me why we should all watch quarterbacks on Netflix.
Gives you a look into the three quarterbacks, Marcus Mariota, Patrick Mahomes, and Kirk Cousins, like you really don't get to see. So it's really cool, and I'll tell you, that really explains a lot about Kirk Cousins. We know why Kirk Cousins is Kirk Cousins and why some people think he's a bit of a dork. It's good. Good show.
That was a very succinct wrap-up by you. What is like Kirk Cousins? He's an anti-vax guy. He's a kind of a right-wing religious guy. Have I read that right, or have I completely misread what Kirk Cousins is actually like behind the scenes?
Behind the scenes, when you say he's, kind of a religious guy, I get that. He's very like clean cut. I don't want to say all American guy, but he's he doesn't, drip superstar, if that makes sense. He's a get to work, do the job, shop at the sand store or Target kind of guy with his short sleeve dress shirts. That's just the kind of guy he is. He doesn't scream NFL quarterback or superstar. He screams the average everyday guy. That's what I get when I watch the show.
He sounds like me.
Yeah, a little bit, but you're cooler, I would say, than Kirk Cousins.
You're right.
And I'm not kidding.
We'll keep you on, Moose. We'll keep you on. Okay, more on this next hour. Have fun. Appreciate it. Appreciate you. We've got Hustler Paterson coming in next from Winnipeg Sports Talk. It is the RP Show live on Game Plus Television. We are Atlanta's NHL show on WQEE. Also podcast and YouTube Live.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. you will use one of the most overused expressions in sports? You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
RP Show continues. One last day in record-setting heat for South Florida, then headed back to Canada. Moose has the show Thursday, Friday. Progressive Insurance text line open, 902-518-3033. We're talking CFL games of the week. Mine, Saskat, BC Saturday. Wilf and Steinbach writes in. He says, good morning, Rod and Moose. Mason Fine, I think, is not too much of a drop-off from Trevor Harris. Looking for an upset. You got the green goggles for your sake and the Riders. I hope you're right, Wilf. Let's bring in Hustler Paterson from Winnipeg Sports Talk, and I'm going to jump right to it, Huss, because we don't have a ton of time, and I want to open with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. The game note says they haven't lost 2 in a row in a very long time. I understand that there's a little angst in the Slurpee capital over the Bombers. What's going on?
Well, Rod, I'd be lying if I said that Bomber fans who have been spoiled, let's start off with that, have been very spoiled over the last 4 years, are still a little bit rattled or frankly in a state of shock after the comeback in the nation's capital on Saturday. I mean, that game was over. 19 points in the fourth quarter, 16 with less than 3 to go. I mean, it's still incredible. I have a hard time wrapping my head around it. That being said, this is a very good football team with a lot of experience. I think that they're probably the happiest players in the league, that they're on a short week this week and get back at it on Thursday. And unfortunately for the Edmonton Elks, who have yet to win a football game this season, I think they're coming into hostile territory with a very angry opponent. And be interesting to see how the team gets back on it. But yeah, that was one for the ages. And listen, as disappointing as it was for Bomber fans, you got to feel good for Bobby Dice. He's a great leader of men. You saw what that win did for the Ottawa franchise after starting 4 different QBs in the last 4 games. It was, we won't be forgetting that game for a long time, or frankly, the entire week in the Canadian Football League. It really was spectacular for a number of reasons.
So Bomber fans, nor the Bombers themselves, are overly worried. They just took their eye off the ball in Ottawa. Is that the sense that I'm getting?
I mean, for that game in particular, I mean, yeah, I think you could basically say that they thought that game was won and took the foot off the gas and got burned. And that's not something this team has done quite a bit over a long time. Now, if you ask them, I mean, listen, going into this season, I think everyone thought that it was the Bombers and everybody else. Well, I think anyone that's been paying attention to the league knows that is definitely not the case. I think Bomber fans still are a little bit more concerned about getting whooped the way they did by the BC Lions in Winnipeg earlier for their other loss this season. And let's not forget about what the Toronto Argonauts are doing right now. I mean, this is not Winnipeg and everybody else. The Bombers are still a very good team, but I think it's proven that even a team that has done what they've done over the last while with the number of returning players still has a lot of work to do going forward. And that work will begin tomorrow night at IG Field when the 0-6 Elks come to town to try to get their first W of the season.
I'm like Millard yesterday. Dean goes, I've checked out on the Elks. And are they 0-6 now, or are they 0-5? I could look. Is that what they are? Okay. They're awful. And they're going to be 0 whatever, coming out of Winnipeg. So enough about them. Huss, it's National Hot Dog Day. You're probably aware of that. I was remiss in asking you this earlier. Where and when is the best hot dog you've ever had?
Well, I heard you. Listen, you got to give a shout out to the in Montreal, the Chien Show, certainly a famous dog. Old heads in Winnipeg will remember a toasted hot dog, similar, I think, basically modeled after the Montreal hot dog at the old Winnipeg Arena in the north end of that rink, which was a must-do when you went to an old Jet game or something in the old arena. I will say this, though. They've taken that history and made the Jumbo Jet dog at Canada Life Center now, which is a much larger dog, and they put crazy stuff on it, pierogies and bacon and things like that. So I will say that dog is right up there at the top of my list. However, Rod, you'll be interested in this. Remus and myself, my partner from Winnipeg Sports Talk, will be going to the game tomorrow and beforehand recording a video taking on the 32-inch Yard Dog, which has just been launched at IG Field, home of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So next time I come on with you, I will have a full report on definitely the biggest hot dog I, even as part of a tag team, have ever tried to tackle.
Yeah, they do a 24-inch one at Rider games. I pounded that. That was batting practice. That's nothing. And at Cowboys games in Dallas, it's like a Texas chili dog, hot dog, chili, and jalapenos on it. And that's pretty good. But nothing tops Bell Center. Nothing. It's over. Done. Mic drop. Montreal
like
perfected the hot dog.
A good bun toasted in that way can take a 6 and make it a 9.5, if you ask me.
Yeah, that's the thing. The secret is in the bun. Huss, I gotta, I did football for a long time, but was a hockey guy at heart. Hockey changed from when I got out of it till I kind of got back to covering it. This fake news in the off season, I'm not here for it, man. Like this Hellebuck stuff, it's just chasing your tail. Like, I understand it's great for shows like yours and Barn Burner. I just can't and won't do it because to me, it's a waste of time. Like, where are you on the Hellebuck thing? It just seems like a gigantic wild goose chase to me.
Well, I mean, listen, earlier, going into the draft, it certainly wasn't. But, I think everyone needs to read the room right now. There doesn't seem to be any team willing to give the Jets even close to what they feel value for a Vezina Trophy winning goaltender right now. And there's also a real hesitancy, even if teams were able to acquire him, to be paying him $9.5 million on a 7 or 8 year deal right now. So it's quiet. It's just as quiet on Mark Scheifele right now. And I think a lot of that has to do with what happens with Elias Lindholm in Calgary and specifically the Boston Bruins. But yeah, listen, we spent a lot of time talking about different possibilities of this Winnipeg Jets off season. And originally it was Dubois, Scheifele, and Hellebuck. They had the taker. They got a great return for Pierre-Luc Dubois. He's now a member of the LA Kings. But I think, Rod, as we speak right now, I think the smart money is on, in all likelihood, both of those players beginning the season with the Winnipeg Jets. And what will end up being fascinating is how things go this season, because it's my personal opinion, I don't think they'll be extending Hellebuck. I'm not sure. Scheifele, I don't think they'll be extending. I think they'd love to extend Hellebuck to something a little more reasonable. I think they'd pay the freight. I just don't know if those number of years. I think that's the danger on this. So when we get to next season and everybody's back and teams are playing in the NHL and guys are getting hurt, the constant trade rumors, I think, will be back around Mark Scheifele and Connor Hellebuck. And the only thing that will change that, Rod, is if we get an announcement from the Winnipeg Jets that one of those players has signed an extension that kicks this can down the road. And then the other part about it is if they are there and they think that they can trade them and get a better value for them at the deadline, what do you do if the team's good? What do you do if the team's in second place in the Western Conference and clearly a playoff team? Because let's face it, you trade your number one center, you trade your number one goaltender, who frankly is the best player on this team, in my opinion. What does that do to the rest of the room, and what does that do to your playoff hopes? So it's going to be interesting regardless of what happens. But I think for the time being, as we get through July and August, unless Elliot Friedman or one of the guys goes up and says, hey, things have really heated up, we'll talk about it then. Otherwise, we're going to get ready for some new players. Alex Iafallo, Gabriel Velarde, who's going to be getting a new contract at some point in the next week, and focusing on the stories that we haven't been talking about because all the oxygen in the room has been sucked up by trade rumors of two of the great Jets of this past decade.
I appreciate the update. I really do. It's sorting it out for me. That's why we had you on. Huss, have a great show. We got to run, brother. Enjoy summer. We'll chat soon.
Crush those dogs, Roddy. Stay cool.
Plan on it. Thank you, man. Hustler Paterson from the Slurpee capital. We got some great questions that have come in from the crowd, and I want to address them when we return. You're going to love that. You're not going to want to miss it. It is the RP Show on Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio, podcast, and YouTube Live.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Hey Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
RP Show continues. Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio, podcast, and streaming. It's today's theme. It's National Hot Dog Day today. I'm asking where and when did you have your best ever? Fake Gainer is following along and writes in on Twitter and says, respect for Montreal hot dogs, but does anything beat an auction sale dog or burger on the prairies? Might be more of a vibe than taste, but hot damn, auction dogs and burgers for life. Well, we're not talking about burgers, so shelve that. Can we stay on point? And number two, they're great, sure, but they don't even come into the same stratosphere as Bell Center hot dog. So I appreciate the narrative you're pushing, Fake Gainer, but it's not in the same league. People wonder why I drank. Stick with me. This is why I said you're not going to want to miss this. Progressive Insurance text line 902-518-3033. Hustler's gone, y'all. Progressive Insurance text line 902-518-3033. Daryl in Edmonton writes in, he says, your show is always great when I get the chance to watch. Will it ever move to radio or TV?
How about that?
Listen to me closely. I'm going to try to keep my lid on. We have 4 commercial breaks an hour. We're on 2 hours a day. Going into every commercial break and coming out of every commercial break, I say we're on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, podcast, and YouTube Live. So that's 16 times a day, 8 times an hour, 16 times a day. I tag it in every tweet. I write it in every blog post at rodpeterson.com. I can't.
Bob's your uncle.
I'm telling people 16 times a day live that are watching this show, not to mention all the many, many listening to the podcast. It replays at night, for God's sakes, at 10 p.m. Like, what more do I got to do? And we have a new CEO who said to me the other day, Rod, what do you want? If there's one thing you could have with this show, what would it be? I'm like, how about some flippin' marketing for the first time ever? Because salespeople go into these businesses and other who Rod is. And it's like they're afraid to tell me because I'm going to be upset. Why would I be upset? How the hell would they know? We don't market. So, Daryl, that's where we are. Oh, and by the way, he's written back and says, okay, I got to lobby Shaw to carry Game Plus. Yeah, you do. But I long ago gave that woosa. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. You can't make Shaw carry Game Plus. I'm very happy that TELUS... Go get TELUS! How about that?
How about that?
Sports update. The Vancouver Bandits look to end their 4-game losing streak as they visit the Saskatchewan Rattlers Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m. at SaskTel Center. SaskTel Max carries it, Channel 427. Right-hander Jose Barrios will be on the mound for Toronto today as the Blue Jays look for a bounce-back game against the visiting San Diego Padres. The Padres hit 4 home runs en route to a 9-1 win Tuesday night, halting the Jays' 4-game win streak in the process. Righty Yu Darvish will go for the Padres. Sports update for Landmark Cinemas. By the way, enter to win a movie night out at Landmark Cinemas. For movie lovers, all you have to do is text movies now to 902-518-3033 to be entered. Winners are picked every Friday to enjoy a movie night out this weekend. Text it now and be entered to win our contest. We'd love to send you to the movies. Moose next hour, and Jeshrun Antwi of the Alouettes after this brief pause on Game Plus at WQEE Radio.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
The prizes are a draw, but the cause, that's the clincher.
This is why they can count on me.
Inbound receiving hospital.
prizes and a cause I can't say no to.
Stars Lottery, the lottery on a mission. Every ticket is your chance to win more than $3.6 million in prizes, including cash, homes, vehicles, and vacations. Buy your tickets today at starslottery.ca or 1-844-STARS-SK.
Ad marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
We with the Pats and the Edmonton Expo Center. I'm standing with this team jacket on. Glenn Sather walked out on the bench, and I was literally like, bah, 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 bah. And our assistant GM, he was wearing the same jacket. And he was like, you guys, where did you get those jackets? And I'm like, bah, 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 bah. There was my chance to chat with Glenn Sather. And I soiled myself.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show. It's hour 2 of your favorite daytime sports talk show. Say it with me. On Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio, podcast, and YouTube Live. I hope after all these times of brainwashing, you people, it'll stick as we bring in the Moose. Have you been enjoying the last 10 minutes of the show, Moose?
Of course. Always. And I like that. Say it with me. We have been infecting people's minds that, you know, they probably can just sing it along with you as you go to break every day.
902-518-3033. Pick up the phone and text RP, Rod Pedersen.
Rod Pedersen.
This just came across my Twitter timeline. I just want to point this out. Alex Baumgartner, friend of mine who covers the Florida Panthers from 5reasonsports.com. Photo of Oliver Ekman-Larsson. It just tells you about culture and getting things done. Alex Baumgartner. I guess they had a media availability with Oliver Ekman-Larsson this morning, and it says, new Panthers D-man OEL said even though he doesn't know too many of the guys on Florida, most of the team reached out to welcome him. Quote, it's always a good start when your new teammates are reaching out and texting, makes you feel welcome and home right away. I'll say it again. Culture, culture, culture starts at the top. Their president, Matt Caldwell, is an Army guy, very high up. I think he was a captain before he was 30. And just something about the military, it's the way they do things. They do it right. We've had fun today. We always do. They're testing my patience. No, the guy Daryl in Edmonton last hour, you didn't see it, obviously, was just saying, hey, great show. It's awesome every time I get a chance to. Are you ever going to be on TV and radio? And I'm like, 16 times a show, I say, we're on Game Plus TV. Like, what is it going to take? The guy has written back, Daryl, and he says, by the way, tell Moose to buy me a real beer and a hot dog at the Jays game tonight. I'll be the guy in the Elks hat.
How about that?
I can't remember because it is National Hot Dog Day today. If I saw an ad on the Blue Jays broadcast last night that for a special hot dog tonight, I can't remember. I did see the first 15,000 fans in an upcoming game are going to get a camo Blue Jays T-shirt/jersey. I'm like, oh, I love my camo. As you know, Moose. But I didn't see anything about a special hot dog. But I have a sense they're going to sell a lot of hot dogs tonight at the Jays game in honor of National Hot Dog Day. Bill in Brantford, Ontario, writes us every day. If he didn't, I would be worried about him. I'd wonder where he is. He writes today on the Progressive Insurance text line. He says, Oswego Speedway in upstate New York. Best hot dogs for me. Andy Brown, was the last goalie to play maskless in the NHL used to race there. Thank you, Bill. He's into the obscure things and the obscure facts, Bill in Brantford, Ontario. And I kind of like that. Similar to the Golden Girl, Serena, who I'll say it again if you were watching off the top of the show, and I'm guessing you weren't, everybody. Maybe you were. A record-setting night last night in Major League Baseball. They had a night of offense not seen in 129 years, with 12 teams scoring double-digit runs. The last time that happened or more was May 30th, 1884. Now, it's summer, and we're going to play Deal or No Deal CFL coming up here in an hour or two, but it is summer. That's a baseball season, you know, in terms of time of year, so let's spend a second on that. Is anybody attributing this to the new rules? Because I understand with the pitch clock, that's going to speed up games. The larger bases are going to cut down on injuries. But as far as offense goes, I can't say it's not related, but do we know definitively that it is related?
Yeah, I don't think it's definitively related. I mean, it could be because, you know, the pitchers have less time to prepare and really think things through. And sometimes when you rush it, when you rush things, you can make mistakes, right? And so pitchers can make some mistakes. So I think there's probably something to that. But at the same time, somebody will probably tell you it has something to do with global warming and that the air is thinner now because we're closer to the sun or something like that. So I don't know. I think it was just a fun night of baseball.
Well, it's interesting. I don't want to get into a holy war, and I won't. No, just with Greta and the global warming. The only Greta I want to know is my friend Ozzy's dog in Chestermere Lake, Alberta. Beautiful little rescue dog named Greta. Because I don't know about the global warming thing, but I was reading to the Golden Girl a news story the other day that Phoenix has witnessed or is experiencing its hottest summer ever. I think it's 19 straight days of 110 Fahrenheit or more for 19 straight days. And Miami, for 37 consecutive days, have had a heat index of 100 degrees or more. And to be honest, it's not really bothering me. I got Goldie the Jeep fixed. He's running like never before. The air conditioning's even working in the blinking. I'm okay. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Because if I go outside in minus 50, I will die. But here I can at least drive around with no lid on my Jeep and not die. So I'll live. Now, on the hot dogs from Ryan O'Radio in Atlanta, Ryan O'Neill, who hosts the Radio Penitentiary, and trust me, it's as much fun as it sounds. Ryan says, the Varsity Atlanta, long-running drive-in chain, serving up hot dogs, best around. Burgers, fries, shakes, and other American classics. Regarding Daryl in Edmonton, who wonders if we're ever going to be on TV or radio, Don, our Navy friend, says, does this guy have the internet? I watch you on YouTube all the time. Don't need linear TV at all. And that was Darren's dream, to be on all of these platforms. But when I was speaking to the Canadian Angus Association in June, a bunch of cattle ranchers, one of the wives came up to me and she goes, my husband's so upset he couldn't be here, but he wanted you to know that every single day at 10 a.m. Mountain, he's got his earbuds every day, and he's listening on the ranch to WQEE in Alberta. Like, what is it going to take? What language do we need to speak? You don't need TSN 1260. You don't need TSN 1290. You can listen every day online to WQEE. I don't get it. You look like you're going to say something.
No, I get it for sure. It's tough to break old habits, but when you do, you got to create some new ones. And it's not that it's not there. You just got to put in a little bit of effort to find it. Not a lot of effort. It's pretty easy.
I need to link up you and Troy in Toronto, by the way, because that's one thing that anybody that knows me my whole life will know. I'm a connector. I'm a connector of people. I'm a connector of concepts and ideas and things. The kind of person that makes things happen. Like Ryan O'Radio said about himself this morning on his show. I'm kind of the man around town here. So Troy in Toronto says, I market for you, Rod. I talk about your show to any sport fan I can. I heard about you from listener Jamie in Halifax after I did a podcast with him. I tuned in, and here I am still 3 years later. And just another one, Navy Don says, you'll need air conditioning or you will die, Roddy. I'm aware of that, Don. I live here. What I'm saying is I can drive from one side of the town to the other and not die, but not be out in it all day. So I got it. But thank you for the correction. Still got that guy on the train between Kingston and Toronto. He says, I got the internet. I just want to be able to listen on radio in truck or Sirius. Well, again, I focus on what I can control, and that's not one. And Wendell writes in and says, you guys are always awesome. Who has more fun than us? Okay, enough about that. Hey, I have some NHL things I wanted to get to. So do you have a point? Anything to say before I get to those?
No, I'm good. Let's move on and get to the NHL stuff. I'm good.
Okay, just Richard in Edmonton writes in on the Progressive Insurance 902 text line. He says, one of the best dogs I've ever had was in Atlanta. I think it was called the Varsity 30 years ago. I don't know if it's still going. They would charge you by your look. Three of us all have the same thing, paid different prices.
How about
what did I say? I connect people. And Ryan O'Radio just said that place is still open, still going, world famous. Look what we're getting to the bottom of some stuff here today. All I have in my NHL notebook, because a lot of things come down the pipe, Mika Kiprasov is old news already. The number 34, we've debated that. We've put it to bed. Whatever. Should he have his number retired? It doesn't matter. They're gonna. From the Ottawa Senators today, they announced that they parted ways with assistant general manager Trent Mann. It sounds to me like they don't necessarily have their act together in Ottawa. Last week, they said he was out, took him off the website, put him back on. Today, they fired him. So I'm just telling you the finale of the story. We talked about Kevin Bieksa returning to Hockey Night in Canada. People are very happy about that. That's great. But what we didn't talk about, and I want to get your opinion, and it's 1:11 Eastern, by the way, 11:11 Mountain. So visualize a positive outcome of your current situation. It works. It's magical how it happens.
Beautiful.
And coming up, we're going to talk about an NFL Super Bowl pick as well as that, a little more on the Netflix series called Quarterback. But Alex Galchenyuk, you must have seen this. The journeyman NHL forward, who I thought for years was a Russian, but he's not, Galchenyuk, he had, as we say in the prison system, a bitch on the weekend. You know, he got into the devil's juice.
Oh, no.
Got in some trouble with the Scottsdale police. Called them names. And I shouldn't probably be, make light of it because it's a very serious situation. And as soon as the Coyotes found out about it, they terminated his contract. Last night, Alex Galchenyuk announced that he's going into the NHL's player assistance program. And I want to know what you, as a normie, Darren, an earthling, feels when you see that a player's going into the NHL player assistance program. Because I know the most scared you've ever been in your life was when we were sitting at Chris Nyland's kitchen table and his beautiful fiance, Jamie. You were the only one out of the 5 in the room that wasn't in recovery. Jamie patted you on your back, and she's like, "Are you in recovery, Darren?" And I'm like, "No, he's a normie. He's an earthling. He's not like the rest of us." So when you see that, what's your reaction to that? The Galchenyuk has voluntarily entered the NHL player assistance program.
My first thought is if he's got a problem, then this is a great place to go, right? If this is an issue and something, we haven't heard, or at least I haven't heard of Alex Galchenyuk having issues like this with alcohol or drugs or anything else, and issues with law enforcement or nights out in the past. This is the first time I've heard of it, and it caused a big problem. So if he's got an issue, this is a great place to go. My second thought is also, well, if this can also help save his career, then it's also a good thing to do, because it sounds like, you know, he needs to take some actions here to at least salvage any sort of playing career moving forward. So that was my first two initial thoughts, is if he's got a problem, I'm happy he's doing this. And secondly, if this is what's going to save his NHL career, then he's got to do it as well.
Yeah, well, overall, I'm thanks for the honesty on the answer. I mean, overall, that's why I think I've been put in this position in life by God and the universe to sort these things out, because we don't know that Alex Galchenyuk has a substance abuse problem. As you just said it, one incident. It reminds me of, I was brought into a rehab facility years later as a sober coach, because I was directed to go to rehab and I didn't go. But the deal was, if you stay sober, you don't have to go. But if you do fall, you're going the next day. I'm like, I'll take that deal. And I didn't go back. But so I was brought into this treatment center, and there was a player there. I'm not going to name any of the league or even the sport. But they said, Rod, this player smoked a joint, went into, was laced with PCP, Angel does, went into a psychosis and tried to stab two of his teammates. Oh, okay. That's why he's here. Had to go to a court-mandated rehab facility. And they spent 2 days with the guy, and I'm like, they're like, what do you think? And I said, I think he's not addicted to anything. He was a kid. It's the first time, he says it's the first time he ever tried marijuana, and this happened to him. I got to take him at his word, but he's not addicted to anything. And he finished his term in the rehab facility. He was in a psychosis, wasn't charged with attempted murder because he was not in his right mind, and he's still playing. He's out playing. Wouldn't you love to know who that is? You'll never know. But the point is, with Galchenyuk, this has saved his career. If he's got a problem, they're going to find out, right, in the player's assistance program. And he did the right thing, and it should be celebrated. The reason I ask you is most people think, oh, like when Carey Price went into recovery and announced it, he went into the same program, people are like, oh, that's too bad. No, it's fantastic because it's going to save his life. I often say, you think playing for the Montreal Canadiens and being their starting goalie might be a little stressful? You know, so anyways, that's why I applaud the move of Galchenyuk. I'm glad that you are, and I hope nobody thinks this is a bad thing. What happened in Scottsdale on the weekend, that's a bad thing. We try to prevent that from happening, you know, because I tell these young kids when I speak to the whole team, I said, if you are arrested, it's 2 a.m., you're in the back of a cop car, don't call me. Call your coach, because by then it's too late. But we're here today to talk about preventing that happening. So, lots to get to here, and I'm appreciating the audience participation. We'll be back in a moment. Read my lips. We're on Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio, podcast, and YouTube Live.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
In the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Lake Center, you can mark us airborne off the scene. ETA 2 minutes.
The prizes are a draw, but the cause, that's the clincher.
This is why they can count on me.
Inbound receiving hospital.
Prizes and a cause I can't say no to.
Stars Lottery, the lottery on a mission. Every ticket is your chance to win more than $3.6 million in prizes, including cash, homes, vehicles, and vacations. Buy your tickets today at starslottery.ca or 1-844-STARS-SK.
Smoky in the air, that's a lot of fun. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Looking to buy a pre-owned vehicle? With the largest selection of quality pre-owned vehicles in the Parkland, you're sure to find it at Key Auto Group. We'll treat you right every time, and it's all just a click away at keyautogroup.ca.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Okay, the RP show continues on a Wednesday, my Friday. The Moose will have the show the next 2 days as I make my way back to the Great White North. Let's bring in the Moose, Darren, and let's check in with the audience. Disregarding, I knew that the Galchenyuk discussion, it's not one I don't think you're going to hear in a lot of other places. I don't think they're going to have the discussion that we just had. They're too busy talking about trading Hellebuck, which never is going to happen. Leanne writes in with regards to being a normie. She says, hey, guys, it depends on why Galchenyuk went for help. I'm not a normie, so if he really wants help to get sober, that's awesome. If he's doing it just to get back into hockey, it ain't going to work. Leanne is one of us, as they say. And listen, it was Chris Nyland's kitchen table, and believe me, he doesn't care that I say this. He's very open about his recovery, as am I. There were two other people in the room. Well, another one was Bob, sober coach to the Stars, Bob Merrier. We ran around the table, and Darren was the one earthling there that was not in recovery. And we're like, hey, let's talk about what our addiction was. Our DOC, drug of choice. Yeah. The one hand went up because, heroin got me. Next person, opioids. Me, I was plain old alcohol. That screwed me up enough. Never touched drugs. And the last guy said, well, black tar, heroin, cocaine, but I think it was booze that finished me. What did you think watching that, Darren? That was before the hockey game even started. What did you think watching that?
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. I mean, it wasn't really uncomfortable or scary or anything. It was fun. Like, it was just a fun night, right? And I'm going around the table, and I'd been around, at that point, I'd been around you for years. So, I mean, the recovery talk, understanding all of that, it's all second nature now, right? It's not that I'm in recovery or know what that's like, but I mean, as close as you can get without being in it. But still, you know, as you mentioned, like, you know, around the table, still awkward, a little awkward to be like, yeah, I don't know anything about that. I'm just me, and, you know, I'm not going to ask for a glass of wine with dinner, but because I know that's not around here. But
Well, you can think.
But it was interesting.
You're not. Yeah. Well, hey, we stopped on the way out to Nyland's house, which is beautiful house on the banks of a beautiful river, some suburb of Montreal. I don't know it, and the name of it. But we stopped and bought those specialty cakes. They were like $35 a cake. Remember? And we had written on them, "Go Habs, go." I still got photos of them in my phone, and they're in a box. And we pulled up to Nyland's house, and we go in, and we sat him on the counter, and I'm like, "Knuckles, open the box." And he's like, "No, why?" I said, "Just open the box." You remember how that went. He took his cleaver, and he raised it. He goes, "Don't you come into my effing house and tell me what to do." And, of course, I just started laughing. Were you scared when he had the cleaver up? He looked like the cook in The Muppets.
Yeah, I know, right? And you got to picture Chris Nyland in this situation. He looked like you would imagine a former pro hockey player would look, right? He's got his shorts on with his bulging thighs, like he just got off the exercise bike, T-shirt on, right? And you can see his arm, and he's got the tea towel over his shoulder, and he's got the cleaver in his hand. He's chopping up, and he looks, don't start coming in here and start telling me what to do, right? As he holds it up there. I'm like, oh, I get the sense that Chris Nyland was intense back in the day. And
one of the toughest. And he's not a very big guy. We could sit and tell Knuckles stories forever. And if I thought he could figure his phone out, I'd have him on here a lot more. But McSorley had said something about him one time, which I related to Knuckles. He's like, "You tell McSorley anytime, anywhere." Because he's got that Boston accent, right? Anyways, Nelson writes in and says, "It's good to see players getting the help they need. Mental health and addictions have been closeted issues for so long. If athletes getting help get someone to go to therapy, it's a W." Troy in Toronto says, "I never judge a guy going into a recovery program. I'm now cheering for him to turn his life around. It's very hard to say, I need help. I fought to say those words for years." And, Yeah. And Leanne says, by the way, poor Darren, those discussions make certain people run out of the room. You did very well. You did not run out of the room. You enjoyed it, and it was fun. Steven in North Dakota says, recovery is awesome. Yes, it actually is. It's our little secret. And lastly, Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, the Screaming Viking is my ex-wife's nickname. I don't want to know about that, but let's swing that back around to the NFL and get it back to sports. And maybe before we do that, we should update the poll question. We kicked this around a lot. For those that want to know, it was segment 2 of hour 1. A lot of CFL talk today. What's Canada's game of the week? In the Canadian Football League, why am I looking it up? Because it doesn't surprise me. It's Sask at BC, 52% of the vote. Canada's game of the week for Key Auto Group. 52%. 23% Toronto and Hamilton. 17% Ottawa at Calgary, and 8% at Edmonton and Winnipeg, which I don't mind also saying. It is so calamitous for Edmonton, it's beyond calamitous. Key Auto Group, driven by safety, experience peace of mind with our comprehensive multi-point inspections. Visit Key Auto Group for automotive excellence. And while we have a minute, our CFL coverage is brought to you in part by Sober Carpenter, non-alcoholic craft beer. Check them out at sobercarpenter.com. And I cracked the third and final one of my variety pack that I bought the other day. This is the Black IPA, and it's the best one of all of them. And I was afraid to try it because it sounded too harsh. But we're going to morph CFL and NFL here. Edmonton is so bad. How bad are they, Rod? Dean Millard was on here yesterday saying he's checked out. He's not even following what they're doing. They're 0-6. They play tomorrow at Winnipeg. Going to be 0-7. They clearly haven't had a bye week yet. That must be next week. Their president, Victor Cui, has come out and said, well, we can't fire Chris Jones because of the coaching salary cap. Did anybody say, well, if that wasn't a thing, would you fire him? I don't know if that was part of the discussion or not. But when you are that bad, and I've been with teams that are that bad, the fans do check out. You can see it now. You just had a sense back in the day before digital that your numbers were going down and nobody was listening. because the phone was dead. The text line was dead. Nobody's listening because the team's awful. 3-15. That's where Edmonton is. And I would think in the NFL, who are those other teams? Well, the Houston Texans immediately come to mind. Well, Carolina hasn't been good. I don't know. There's not anybody in the NFL other than Houston that's as bad at that level as Edmonton. But holy smokes. And I feel it all the way down here. I got people lighting up my phone wanting to talk about them. And I'm like, if the people in Edmonton don't want to talk about them, I sure as hell don't want to talk about them. That's bad. When they don't even want to talk about how bad you are, that's worse, Darren. I wonder if they know that.
I know. It is. It's worse. You go back and in recent memory, I mean, I guess recent memory, they've been good. But before that, the Cleveland Browns dealt with that forever.
Yes.
Right? How bad they've been, how many quarterbacks they've gone through, and still the championship drought and all of that. The Detroit Lions went through that in the NFL. So there's all that. You know what? But this is rare what Edmonton's going through, because not only are you losing and not winning championships, you're not giving your fans anything right now by losing all these games at home. Like, people joke about the Toronto Maple Leafs Stanley Cup drought, sing 67 and point fingers and laugh. And they've been good. They've been good in the regular season. They've won games. They've had players to cheer about that are winning awards and stuff. So at least there's stuff for your fans to be excited about, and selling merchandise and all the rest. Like, it's hard to find anything positive at Edmonton, and I feel bad for the people in that organization right now.
Well, yeah. And it doesn't matter the league, or just when you are that bad. NHL, terrible teams have the same thing. When your fans check out, it's not good. And I've seen this timeline from watching it here, whether I be in here, Calgary, North Carolina, whatever. Edmonton, when they were losing games at the start of the year, they would tweet something and the fans would blow up and throw it back in their face. Now they're not even reacting to any of their social media posts. They don't care. And I don't know where you go from. It's better to have the heat, is what I'm saying. It's better to have people pissed off than not caring. And the teams, I don't think they understand that. Leanne says, BC picked to beat the Riders by 17 points. I believe BC will win, but not by 17, I hope. Thoughts? Hang on. We don't have time to get to Deal or No Deal here, but we'll do it in the last segment. Darren, you got to come back for overtime, and we'll play Deal or No Deal. Primarily because I don't have the crown and ready. The crown and robe, it's like 2 arms lengths away from me, hanging on the exercise.
I'll be back.
Ryan in New York says, players report to NFL camps today. It's an exciting day for sure. Yes, and rookie training camps. We're not going anywhere. Did we lose Darren? Did I say where he'd gone? No. Yeah. I thought of Ryan in New York this morning because I got this email from the NHL. And I give the NHL a lot of credit. It was, today's news rundown in the NHL. And I'm like, I bet they don't have the Galchenyuk news in here because their news is curated to just for what they want you to see. Right? The very top item was, will Tyler Toffoli make the New Jersey Devils Stanley Cup contenders? I actually had that written down initially. And then I kept surfing for us to talk about. And then I kept going down. I'm like, oh, they got it here. Galchenyuk voluntarily enters NHL Player Assistance Program. I'm like, well, bravo, NHL, for talking about it and not sweeping it under the rug. Similar to what Nelson said here earlier, if it's not closeted anymore and we talk about this, there's a lot of different ways to look at it. But my point is, kudos to the NHL for not hiding it. But I thought of Ryan as the Devils fan in the house. Maybe Toffoli is the missing piece because they were pretty darn good last year.
I
didn't expect to be talking about that right now. Mm-hmm.
I know. I think they were Cup contenders already, before Tyler Toffoli. This might put them over the top and make them, I don't know about Stanley Cup favorites, but this would make them, one of the top contenders for the Stanley Cup coming out of the East. I would think they're, that last year I don't think was a flash. They played well, played okay in the playoffs. Good, I think they're a team on the rise. I think they're going to be better this year, and Toffoli will really help that.
Good call on that. And by the way, he led the Flames in scoring last year. It's interesting watching what's going on with Calgary, which it looks like we'll be back there next week. But they thought firing Daryl Sutter was going to end all their problems. They fire him, and that's not the least of their problems, is it? Oh, they got so many problems with the Flames.
Just the beginning.
And Buffalo Bill writes in and says, will Edmonton have a chance when the NFL cuts return? I appreciate the notion and the suggestion, but they're 0-6. They're the worst team in football, and the biggest problem is they're the youngest team in the Canadian Football League. Their kick returner doesn't know the rules now. You're going to bring in a bunch of new rookies and teach you from America and teach them the rules? They got to stick with what they have. That's what they have to do. Hey, Jeshrun Antwi next to the Alouettes. You said he's logged in, I believe, and he's watching. What do you want to say to Jeshrun Antwi of the Alouettes right now in our CFLPA spotlight? He's watching, Moose.
I loved covering him in the Canada West Youth Sports with the Calgary Dinos. Dynamic player. Love seeing him get a shot in the CFL. And Jeshrun, wish you all the best, man. Keep it going.
Okay, Moose, we'll see you back for overtime for Deal or No Deal.
See you then.
Our CFLPA Spotlight is next, and it's an Alouette when we return on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Podcast, and YouTube Live.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of fun. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Nine 902-518-3033 is the number to reach us in the studio. We're in the South Florida studio for one more day, heading back to Canada. The poll question today is, what's Canada's game of the week in the Canadian Football League? Leading the way is Sask at BC. Montreal is not playing, and it's time for the weekly CFLPA Player Spotlight. And pretty excited to welcome Jeshrun Antwi of the Montreal Alouettes, who, as I mentioned, are on a bye week this week, so it's, we're very pleased. The man can do it all. He's got receptions, he's got carries, he's got kick returns this year with the Alouettes. Jeshrun, welcome to the RP show. How's the bye week going, sir?
Thanks for having me, Rod. It's great. I'm just, hanging out with my family. Just had a 4-month-old child, so he's about to turn 4 months. So I'm just kind of hanging out with my wife, her family, my family, and just resting and relaxing.
Congratulations. You need it. And you must feel, I would think,
thank you,
fairly fortunate that we're in week 7 and you're already on your second bye week. But at your position, I'm sure you needed it. How are you feeling here in week 7 physically?
Yeah, I feel pretty good. Obviously, we had that game in BC. Traveled to BC, and then we came back, and it was a very short week, and then we had to play a very good Toronto team. Not the result that we wanted, but the guys rallied. We felt like we played. We just missed a few plays here and there, but physically, I feel pretty good. I'm enjoying this bye weekend. I can't wait to get back at it.
Well, your play on the field looks like you are enjoying it, and what we love about these segments is introducing players like yourself to our audience. And I want to tell folks that Jeshrun's from Calgary, went to Father Lacombe High, played at the University of Calgary, 6th-round pick by the Alouettes, but was born and raised in Israel, moved to Ghana when he was 5. I shouldn't say born and raised, born in Israel, moved to Ghana when he was 5, and then came to Calgary when he was 12. So that's, honestly, I can't go any further than with that. You got to tell me how you go from that upbringing to being an all-purpose back with the Alouettes and leading them in rushing last year. That's a hell of a story in between.
Yeah, so my parents met in Israel. My grandmother lived in Israel. I still haven't gotten the story out of them, but that's where they met. So my older sister and myself were born there, and then we went back home to Ghana. And then I came here when I was 11, 12, and went to junior high, high school here. I thought Lacombe High School, and when I was there, my physics teacher. My mother was not a very big fan of football, American football, that is, because back home we play soccer and we call that football, and so she wasn't a very big fan of it because, pads, the physicality, guys get hurt. And so initially when I wanted to play, it was a no-go. I wanted to play volleyball, actually, when I was in high school. And my physics teacher, his name's Ian Couture, a mentor of mine to this day, he just looked at me and he went, "Look, brother, you're going to be the one that's going to be imposing your will on others, not the other way around." And so started playing football in grade 10 at Father Lacombe. Had some decent coaches, and I guess I was good enough. I didn't think I was good enough because I had only been playing since grade 10, but I guess I was good enough to get recruited by Matthew Berry and Coach Noah at the time at the University of Calgary. And the rest is history.
Yeah, well, and you're a career Alouette. How do you like playing in Montreal, and could you ever envision yourself playing anywhere else? Because it seems to be going really well.
Yeah, I love playing in Montreal. I was drafted in 2019 by a different administration, and then obviously went back to school. 2020, we didn't have a season. Ironically, I had a pretty terrific injury in 2019 when I came back at the UFC, the year that we won the Vanier Cup. Didn't even play in that game. And so that 2020 year, I know everybody has mixed feelings about, missing football and the world in general, missing a whole lot of things. However, I have a different feeling towards it because it allowed me to recover. I'm of a firm mindset. Had I went to Canada in 2020, I do not think I would have been able to participate just because I was not healthy at all. And so that year off allowed me to get my wrist right, allowed me to heal, and I love playing in Montreal. With a new staff. Danny, Eric, PY, JM, Byron, Coach Maz. Now it's a great organization, and I've enjoyed my time there. And I honestly would love to play there for my whole career.
Well, listen, every time the Alouettes take the field, I cheer for them, primarily because of my guy, Cody Fajardo, which I will get to in a second.
Yeah.
But regarding your story, is this something that you're sharing with immigrant kids about what's possible, or are you still too busy carving your own story and you'll do that down the line? Are you involved with kids, say, getting them into sports now, like in Calgary and so forth?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. In the off season, I moonlight as a guest teacher with the Calgary Catholic School Board, and so I teach. I've taught at Notre Dame. I taught at Notre Dame in 2021 for 4 months, and then I also coach the senior boys basketball team. I was an assistant coach there. I've been there for the past 3 years, and so it's good for the kids or whichever school that I visit. The principals always end up finding out who I am. I don't like to really, walk in and say, oh, this is who I am. Yeah, I play football and all that stuff. But, with the internet these days, you walk in any school, kids Google you, they find out who you are. And it just sort of kind of becomes a thing where I can speak to kids, whether they're immigrant or not, just about hard work, perseverance, and just playing sports in general. That's when I first got here, that's how I made friends. I was fairly new, didn't know anybody, but I had never played basketball before. I had never played football. I had never played soccer. I only played soccer and ran track. And so I just encourage kids to, join sports, swimming, hockey, whatever it is, just get involved some way. And I think it will change your life.
Well, I'll tell you what, isn't it nice to have somebody Google you and like what they find? And it's a good thing.
Yeah,
and so I would say
absolutely.
the Canadian Football League's lucky to have you, and we're very lucky to have you on today. But the burning question for me is, how good are the Alouettes? I've watched every game. I think we've seen every side of the Alouettes you guys got to offer.
Yep.
So what's the real Alouettes here?
I think we're a team that is built on competition and toughness, and in the end, we're trusting the process. It might not always end up how we want it, but with the guys in the locker room, with our coaching staff, with what Coach Maz preaches, we're going to show up every week, week in and week out. Doesn't matter what the score is, and we're going to go to war as a brotherhood. And we're going to compete. I think that's where that comes to mind. We're always going to compete. You can never, you're never going to see us with our head hanging down, no matter the flow of the game. Even in BC. That was unlike anything I've ever been a part of since I've been playing, as far as, say too much, but as far as officiating goes. But we as players, we need to do better. We can't put ourselves in a position where it's a gray area per se, where the refs feel like, okay, I kind of have to make this call. So we got to, kind of play better and make the plays that come to us. But if you want to talk about the 2023 Alouettes, the word is compete. We're going to come, we're going to be gritty, we're going to be relentless, and we're going to play hard.
I see it. Well, keep it going. Thanks for spending some time with us on the bye. We'll let you get back to your new babe. Say hey to Cody for me, and Jeshrun, keep her rolling, man. It's fun to watch.
I appreciate you having me, Rod.
Jeshrun Antwi of the Alouettes joining us in our weekly CFLPA Player Spotlight. And a big thank you to the CFLPA. I got to be honest, every week when we find out who's going to be our guest from across the Canadian Football League, it's always a surprise, and I can't wait for it. And what a wonderful interview with Jeshrun. What a great young man. And thanks to Kevin with our crew and everybody for making it happen. We'll be back with a CFL Deal or No Deal sports update and audience takeover. Our big segment coming up next. Our last one of the day on Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio Podcast, and YouTube Live.
My name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Looking to buy a pre-owned vehicle? With the largest selection of quality pre-owned vehicles in the Parkland, you're sure to find it at Key Auto Group. We'll treat you right every time, and it's all just a click away at keyautogroup.ca.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Peterson Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Peterson Show today.
Here we go. We got a lot to get to and not a whole lot of time. Well, we got enough time, that's for sure, as we bring in Darren Moose DuPont as promised for overtime. Can't wait to see his face. You loving it, Moose? There you go. You ready for everybody's favorite segment of the week? Are you? Yes. Aren't we? Where's my gong? Here we go. It is time. There we go. It's time for CFL Deal or No Deal, presented by our exclusive betting partner, Bet Regal. We got to get right into it, Moose. I know you're ready to go. Week 7 kicks off Thursday night with the Edmonton Elks at the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Winnipeg is favored by 14.5 at Bet Regal. Are you taking that bet or not?
I'm taking it because Winnipeg needs a statement. It's a big spread. I hate it. It's like a college football spread, but I'll take the bet.
I'm not going to. I think Edmonton isn't going to win, but they'll keep it closer than 2 touchdowns. And then Friday, it's Toronto at Hamilton. Battle of the QEW. The Argos in their 150th season are favored by 7.5 at Hamilton. Deal or no deal?
No deal. I think the Argos win, but I think Hamilton will keep it a little closer than that in a rivalry game.
I'm taking the deal, but don't take my advice. Darren always wins these. I get blown out of the water. Saturday night, my game of the week, Sask at BC. The Lions are favored by 10. Watermelon smash night.
Deal or no deal, Lions by 10.
Most interesting line of the week. I'm going to go no deal. I think the spread's too big. I think it's a little too big.
Ding, ding, ding. He's saying fine will be fine. And Sunday, Ottawa at Calgary. The Stampeders are favored by 5. Deal or no deal?
I'm going to go no deal there, too. I'm going to ride the wave that is Ottawa after the big come-from-behind win.
I'm going to take the deal. I think the Stampeders are for real. I don't think Dickinson and Huffnagel and Mueller can be wrong on Jake Mayer. They're never wrong. So I'll take the deal on that. Sign up at betregal.ca and get playing or download their app. The exclusive betting partner of the RP show is BetRegal, 100% Canadian owned. So there's that. So let me just take this off for a second because you think this thing is hot wearing it in Canada. You should see what it's like at 100 degrees here. Here's a sports update, Moose, that I wanted to get to, and we're going to. Number one, the Blue Jays look to rebound against the visiting San Diego Padres after dropping Tuesday night series opener 9-1. Jose Barrios gets the start for the Jays against the Pods. Yu Darvish. But that's not what I'm interested in talking about. Placeline, Lansing, Michigan. A new state law allows alcoholic drinks to be sold at college sporting events in Michigan. Governor Gretchen Whitmer signed legislation Tuesday allowing liquor sales to be issued to sporting venues at public universities, including Michigan State and East Lansing and the U of Michigan in Ann Arbor. She said, quote, authorizing the legal sale of alcohol at sporting events will bring us on equal footing with other universities, help reduce the likelihood of binge drinking before games, and bring in a heck of a lot more revenue than we can use to improve the student experience. At least she's honest. Whitmer also signed legislation making liquor to go permanent, which is expected to generate revenue.
I think we lost him. Right in the end of the show. We got through deal or no deal. At least we got through that. But we're going to keep rolling. And again, guys, just bring him right in. Put him on the screen as soon as he's back. And we'll flip the baton back over. That's great. So on that, I've got plans. Oh,
hello.
We got you back.
Where did I lose you? Where did I lose you?
You were just reading the news article about them putting it on equal footing with other major sporting universities, avoiding binge drinking, and you just finished talking about the to-go, the booze to-go.
Okay. And now I was just saying that we're brought to you by Landmark Cinemas. That was pretty much the end of it. But what I was saying is thank God the governor was at least honest about it, because if she'd said it was for any other reason other than to make money, I would have stood up and called her a liar. But again, at least she's being honest about it. And Landmark Cinemas brings you the sporting updates and also Sober Carpenter. And I was just going to say, in theaters August 4th, Meg to the Trench. Are you familiar with this series? Did you, was it on the, you are?
I am, yeah. The Meg, Big Shark, Megalodon is what it's short for. Jason Statham, I believe, was in it, right? Those are the kind of, I'm going to call it a scary movie. Those are the kind of scary movies I like. Like, I'm not into the ghosts and the paranormal activity. I'm into, like, what's around that corner that's going to jump out and eat me, right? And like, jumpy, you know? I like those. This Megalodon, it's kind of jumpy because you don't know where the big shark is. So it kind of gets me going a little bit.
It's like Jaws for the new millennium, basically.
Yes.
So that's cool. Thank you, Ryan in New York. He says, top-notch show as usual, Rod. Safe travels back to Canada. Thank you, my friend. From WQEE, another great RP show, King Rod and Top Gun. Thank you. I saw Nelson says, great. These interviews are so darn good. From Jeff, the Stamps fan, great interview, Rod. Between the Dinos and Stamps, there isn't a stadium in Canada that's seen more greats come and go than historic McMahon. Craig Smith says, love this kid, such a solid running back in our league, strong runner, catches the ball. Montreal's got a good one. I do read the news from time to time. It said Canadians are canceling their travel plans because of inflation and unreliable airlines. And I got to say, sucks to be them. I'm getting a little anxiety about traveling, but not a lot. When I flew down here, I got the exit row, and the lady at the counter literally said, Darren, She goes, we know that you're 6'3", so we put you in the exit row. I'm like, what? They actually did. Now, that's kind of not a conversation you'd ever have with a ticket agent. Let me guess.
I'm not 6'3".
No, but I can't complain about Air Canada or WestJet. Touch wood, they've been absolutely fantastic. And now I got these air tags I can put in my bag. They can't lose my luggage either. So, yeah. You ready to have fun the next 2 days?
I am. It's going to be great. I hope everybody will join, and we'll see you tomorrow.
All right, it's just going to be fantastic. Enjoy National Hot Dog Day, everybody. The real hot dog takes over tomorrow at noon Eastern.
McFly, hello.